Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to Tenerife. We're defending our Copa Del Rey trophy. This time we've got Sevilla in the final, who aren't having a particularly good season domestically. See you in a moment. But first, a few little bits and pieces. Regen Day came around. It's always a little bit later in Spain, but it came around a couple of weeks ago, and this is the pick of the bunch. Aithami Lozano, 15 finishing, 15 acceleration, 15 natural fitness, 14 pace, 50 determination. He's 15. Left only footed striker, definitely a striker this time round though, with the 15 finishing. Along with Mingo Davila. I'm so glad I splashed out for that one from Numancia now, but never mind. This guy's a little bit younger. 16 tackling on the books already. Crossing, dribbling, finishing are not bad for a 15-year-old. So in theory, they will develop as he develops. The mercenary personality is the problem with Davila. I feel like we've had a Davila before. I think his name was Byron Davila at York, and he was a Liverpool player that we loaned in. And I can't remember if we actually acquired him permanently at any point. But the name Davila has history on this channel. But they're the two standouts. There's a few that are sort of 3-4 star-ish potential as well, including a Nigerian and a Gambian, which of course we don't have links with. I think we're still 1 or 2 years off getting players through from our affiliates, most of the affiliates anyway. There was one Swedish one. I think they're the oldest ones, the Swedish affiliate that we have, so I think they're just starting to filter through now. But if you remember early on in the season, I did point out that Sevilla were having a bit of a stinker when it came to their season. It's still a thing. They are 6 points from safety. They've got a game in hand, which is against us, of course. And for the life of me, I'm not fully certain why. Bizarrely, they still have all their best players. They've still got Kunde and Diego Carlos in central defence, who are two of the best defenders in the division. They've acquired Hattabor at right back, and Nesri's up front. They got Kondogbia, who I went in for at the end of last season. I'm actually really annoyed because he's actually agreed to a squad player contract with them, which is what I offered him. I thought he'd gone there as like an important player because that makes sense. Oh, he was on loan there last year. That might have been part of the reason why he decided to go there. I can't explain why they've been so bad this year. They actually got Conte at the start of this year. The previous manager was sacked at the end of the previous season. Conte stepped in, lasted half a season. Yes, that very same Conte with these ridiculous manager attributes. He was actually at Inter for quite a long while in the game, 4 years in total, which is a long time in Italian football. So I can't really explain what's gone wrong there. Though I can sort of see why they've not improved, because they hired this man, whose highest profile gig up to that point is, well, Spain manager technically, but in league football, Levante, I would say. Oh, Bilbao briefly, seemingly, 2005 to 2005. They're probably the highest rated side he's ever managed. 19 years ago, in-game. So why they're 18th, I have no clue. But apart from that Zukic injury, we are at 100% full strength, in my opinion now. I'm personally placing McDonald ahead of Antov in terms of the person I want to be playing on the left-hand side of the Volantes because McDonald is left-footed. They're roughly similar attribute-wise, but because of their left-footedness, McDonald in theory is the natural player to be on that left side. Christensen in goal, Lodi at left-back, Harwood, Quiros, Hanus, McDonald, Valverde, Ravella, Batuan and Merckx, Alves at front. Zukic, of course, that's the only one that's missing. It's a shame he's missing for this. I think he's still going to be missing for Chelsea. Yeah, still 2 months away. That's not going to change. We've only moved a week in game. So actually, it's not even been a full week. It's only been 3 days. I did have to rest the players just to make sure they were fine for this, because I played basically full strength 2 days ago, 2 games in a row now. We've got this. Ravella is on fire. Yes, indeed he is. He was man of the match in both Porto legs. And we've got the opportunity to say pundits in a cup final. That is the perfect situation. Whenever there's an option to say the pundits, just prove the pundits right. Whenever there's an option to say prove the pundits right, take it. It's an automatic motivation. So they line up with a new gen, in fact, alongside Kondogbia. It almost looks like they're mimicking our formation, but I suspect that's just a regular 4-2-3-1 rather than this deeper version. 4-3-2-1, sorry. I am intrigued by the new gen, though, because we're not that far into the game for them to be playing someone. He's 3 stars, okay. Juan Antonio Galvez is quite good. Fairly professional, 3-star wonder kid. I thought I'd check the release fee just because that tends to give you an indication how good new gen is in Spain. Yeah, okay, his release fee is 90 million. Expect big things from Galvez over the next few years then, I imagine. But Hanus plays the ball to Valverde. Valverde back to Hanus. Merckx, close. Eagle-eye viewers may have noticed I have taken Icardi off the bench. His last 5 games were 6.5. I have not replaced his striking ability on the bench. I put a goalkeeper on because it's a cup final, just in case. Ball's whipped in. The cross hit the crossbar, I think, there. It's not why it's called a crossbar, but we're just giving it a new definition for the time being. Valverde, back to Quiros, Hanus. Quiros again. Back to the goalkeeper, Harwood now. They are pressing relatively, I want to say relatively well, but we are bypassing their press quite nicely, although that was bad. And, well, then Nesri's in. He tried to chip it from 2 yards in front of Christensen. So, Galvez with the through ball, though, showing what he's got. Worrying signs fairly on. It's being played at their stadium, because I don't know why. I don't know if this is a lottery situation when it comes to where the cup finals played, but the fact we've played at the opponent's stadium twice in a row in a cup final is an insane situation. I presume it's a rotation thing. I don't think it... Unless it's simply just been drawn at home or it's been coded wrong. Because Sevilla are listed as the team on the left. They are listed as the home team in the game itself. Slightly underwhelming first half. But there's Kondogbia, the traitor. No, I mean, I can't blame him. If he was actually at Sevilla last year as well, then I can't blame him for going there now. I didn't actually know that till now. Probably should have looked. Speaking of expiring contracts, I have already signed a player. I've signed a player basically to replace the destroyed Icardi, although Bruno Alves comes close. Bruno Alves will be the lead striker next year. I brought in a backup to him to replace Icardi, who's just crumbled as a human being. Homegrown. He's homegrown, so that all works out as well. Merckx goes close again. Yeah, so Alves will be first choice next season. There's not a lot going on in this game. Looking at our average positions, I feel like Ravella's not getting far enough forward. Valverde's basically on his shoulder. Not going to make any personnel changes, but I'm just going to push our engagement line higher. Not the defensive one, just the engagement line. In the theory that will make Ravella go further forward. So far, it hasn't. My concern is Merckx is by far our best player. But Alves is on a 6.2, and this is where I kind of wish I did have Icardi on the bench now. The worst part is Merckx is actually a 3-star pressing forward, which is higher than Alves' rating there. So I'm going to put him up there just because he's tiring a little bit. So in theory, that means he won't have to move as much. Kyoto's on for Alves. Because I can't allow a 6.2 to continue, although Oliver might end this game right now. And does indeed score. In a weird way, I'm kind of happy for Sevilla to take this because they've had such a rotten season. I'd almost feel bad, but I mean, it's not great from Christensen there, if we're being brutally honest. I'm going to bring Carrasco on the opposite side as well for these last few, just fresh legs on somewhere. Harwood's on a 6.2. Hanus is knackered though, so I've got to deal with that rather than... Oh, 2 minutes to go. We're not getting back in this, are we? Well, that is a turn up for the books, considering. But like I said, I'm weirdly pleased for them. It's nice for them just to have something to celebrate about this season. They're probably going down, which means we probably should start eyeing a few of their players. Getting them scouted, particularly those two central defenders. Arguably one of our worst performances in the season. It listed Atletico Madrid as the underperformers, and I thought I'd just check out why. They got knocked out in the first round to Cadiz, who are second tier. I mean, they're actually up to 5th in the league now, but they are through to the Europa League semi-finals at the very least. Started in the Europa League. It's not like they got knocked down, of course, because they just about snuck into the Euro spots last season as well, and they've done so this season, seemingly. 5 points off 4th, they could do it. But for the goalkeeper with the most clean sheets in the league, that was a disappointing goal to concede. Of course, they give Sevilla Europa League football. But it's a tough ask for Sevilla to get out of that bottom 3 now, because provided we beat them in that game in hand, that's 6 points, and Mallorca have the head-to-head on them. So realistically, it's technically 7 points for them to get out of that bottom 3. But I'll see you on Wednesday for both of the semi-final Champions League games against Chelsea. Whether we beat them or not will affect what happens next after that, of course. As does what happens in the league between now and the end of the season. We beat Sevilla in that game in hand. We do go top because Barcelona drew another game at some point against Atletico Madrid recently. So whilst I said I'd quite like to reduce the number of episodes per season from now on, it feels a little bit weird ignoring the fact that we're in a title battle for the first time. Because last season we kind of walked to it a little bit, thanks to just everyone else being very disappointing. The fact there's actually a fight on this time feels a little bit weird to ignore it completely at the end of the season. So, if there is still a fight at the end of the season, I will cover those league games at the end. Otherwise, if there's a 6-point gap by the time we get to the penultimate game, then Champions League final, if we get through to it. There's a lot of variables, basically, so I'll see you on Wednesday for Chelsea twice, and then after that, we'll see. Until then, thank you for watching. Ta-ra.